How exactly am I supposed to get out of here?
There's an exit to the sewers on the factory floor level. This raid was a rush job. I don't think they've known where you are for very long. They're gambling that they can eliminate you before you have time to think.
Oof. Wow!
My organization is aware of links between this attack and Dr. Baxter's murder.
What? How?
I believe we must discuss this somewhere more secure. 1181 Shenley Boulevard, Southeast Network, 16th floor. Come around the back.
This is the place Jinsel said to meet up at. Ugh, what a dump. The city just gets worse and worse every time I leave the trance.
Well,
There's the sewer.
we did it, team.
Listen, we must have privacy before we can reveal what we found. Those remaining in the server must be persuaded to leave.
It's really, really uncool to steal from someone who's in the trance. But I'm in something serious. Anyway, I saw this guy going through your stuff on the sofa. Oh, ew.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no.
Ouch.
And I have been blessed
Of
with
course.
powerful barbiturates.
You got the whole dose. This should be interesting.
Yeah, well, I'd better just. I don't feel so good.
Repent.
Let me guess. You want me to be a relay for you?
With a sync ratio like yours, the bandwidth would be incredible. Shukran, Mandala. Justice shall be done. They operate from an old aerostat terminal, Xanadu Aircraft. Head there. We will remain in contact with you.
So we just dumped sewage on somebody's face.
Yes, we stole a credit chip from a random person.
We injected barbiturates into another man.
We destroyed an antennae, allowing people from other nations to be just having fun in this tiny server.
We wrecked somebody's car on purpose.
We had a few people physically experience what it would be like to interact with a nuke.
So that we could be somebody's router.
It's true. We are the wire that will help the revolution.
Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to Technobabylon. David's with me once again.
And nobody seems to be wanting to look at us, though. They're all really into that wall over there.
Yeah, there's something going on up front that's making everybody happy right now. We are back in another flashback sequence after last week's escapades with, burning people alive as Charles and dumping raw sewage on the heads of unconscious trancers as Latha. We did a lot of damage as our adventure game sociopath selves last week, and I'm frankly eager to see what more trouble we can cause this week.
Ultimately, we must ask, are we the good guys in this story? Will the big reveal be that the mind hacker is much more beneficial to society at large?
Maybe this will turn meta, and the mindjacker is actually us at our computer. Ooh. So yeah, we're back in another flashback. Looks like we're playing as Viksha once again. Perhaps. Okay, yeah, there we are. So we're back as Viksha. I'm not sure if she's Viksha Regis at this point. We had another flashback earlier where she was not. But we'll see where she is here. And that might have actually been addressed last week, but I forgot the particulars.
I remember I think Chiqua telling us that, you took his name, huh?
She's that's
like,
right, yes.
He's very traditional.
That's
it makes him
right.
happy.
Very traditional, once again, despite being probably born in, 2030 or something.
Spiritually, Charles is from the 1950s. It's fine.
It's true. Okay, so let's see what we can learn about our situation right now. This is an optical microscope. It might not be cutting edge, but sometimes it's just the right tool for the job.
Looks like the engineered nerve tissue is as robust as we'd hoped. Self-maintenance. That's the big benefit of organic hardware.
I was going to call her out on it, but I guess, she knows her business better than I do.
Don't mansplain to her. Over the past few weeks, you've gotten to know Dr. Chigua very well. You can understand why some might find her a bit abrasive, but it's nice to work with someone so practical. Dr. Vargas is apparently the one having his brain activity mapped today. It's your turn next week. You don't always care for Dr. Zhang's sense of humor. Charlie's been through an awful lot since he left his home country.
Can it wait? I'm in the middle of dissecting Dr. Vargas's brain. With the fMRI scanner, of course.
This big machine you see here?
Dr. Vargas?
In here, my dear.
What are you doing?
Roadman 9 and 46.
Dr. Chigua is mapping my brain activity. In many ways, our project will share more in common with us than other computer platforms.
Intermittent rostrocaudal axis patterns. Tell me, what do you think would be the best manner to train such an AI?
Naturally, it can handle abstractions better than conventional AI. Plus, we have millennia of experience and tradition when it comes to education.
I somewhat agree with you. Do you hear that, Gwen?
Mm-hmm.
Though Dr. Chigua agrees that conventional programming is impossible, she is considering the possibility of imprinting existing mind states within the platform.
Quick for the AI, but utilizing a person's natural experience?
Though it may not be my philosophical ideal, it is an intriguing experiment. It is good to be working with you again, Dr. Pereira. I mean, Dr. Regis. Congratulations again on the wedding.
It's been too long since Buenos Aires, Eduardo.
You were my brightest student, Viksha. I felt so conflicted when you were awarded that field position.
That feels like so long ago. I was ready for something more sedentary. And this project, it's like nothing else I've ever worked on before. It's groundbreaking, the next big step in artificial intelligence. I'm really grateful you could take Charlie on board.
I can see how much he means to you, Dr. Regis. Your opinion and welfare means a great deal to me. Of course, I would not have taken him if I did not think him capable. I am afraid that we have hit an obstacle. Though we have a solid theoretical groundwork, we cannot proceed.
Why not? We've built a gene map for the organic processors. Get Charlie or Dr. Chigwa to run it through a flash clone.
Alas, that is where our problem lies. Our plans depend upon the development of neural tissue. The flash clones develop with none, for legal and ethical reasons.
The City Council must have expected something like this eventually. We can petition for a special exception. They'll provide live embryos for research.
Certainly possible, though too lengthy. By the time approval has been granted, the project will have exceeded its deadline.
Dr. Baxter has a reliable simulation of the AI running in situ. Surely he can pattern it out onto a larger system.
While the platform will run magnificently in an organic framework, trying to emulate it in a simulation has tremendous processing costs. Unless we can finalize the production of an organic matrix, we will fail.
There might be another option. Nina gave me the idea. We need normal embryos to engineer, not the flash clones, right?
That is our problem. The Council will not be able to provide them quickly enough.
Well, Charlie and I have been trying for kids. As a result, we have several fertilized embryos frozen.
Viksha, I hope you are saying what I think.
We could, perhaps, donate.
You do not know what this could mean to us. You have saved us, Viksha. In a way, you may yet be the surrogate mother of the central AI.
Whoa, big spike in activity there.
You think Charlie will be okay with that?
Hey, he spent years modifying embryos himself. I'm sure he'll be all right.
He's very open-minded.
Flesh drive.
You got in?
Yeah, now to find out who our mysterious benefactor is.
Good luck. I'll keep the car moving. Hopefully, Central won't start asking too many questions.
Copy that. Regis out.
Are you Dr. Regis?
Yes, you must be the welcoming committee.
They're waiting for you upstairs. Hold on, gotta search you first.
What are you doing with a hand?
Like hell you will.
My instructions were quite specific, sir. Nobody goes up these stairs while armed.
Stop being childish, Charlie. It's the only way I could get them to trust you.
Fine.
One cell issue charge pistol. It will be kept safely for you until business is concluded.
Gee, thanks.
You may proceed upstairs.
Oh, Lord. Nina, you're the one I've been talking to?
You made it at last, Charlie. How are you?
If I'd known it was you in my head, I'd never have agreed to come.
Now, Charlie, that's not fair. Let's put the past behind us. What happened to Vicky affected us all.
You've got some nerve. If you think...
In fact, the reason I've invited you is to help fix mistakes arising from the project.
What do you mean?
Allow me to introduce everyone here. Councilman Dean.
Good evening, Dr. Regis.
Rand Schumann.
You don't look like much.
Imogen Natalia Revilla-Quintanilla de Florez.
Charmed, I'm sure.
And I believe you've already spoken to Mr. Stepford here.
Oh my, yeah.
Because of a common cause. The removal of Central.
What? I mean, you can't just...
It's a difficult proposition, and we need the help of someone like yourself. In exchange, we have the means to assist you with your personal crisis.
You've always dreamed big, haven't you, Nina?
We know exactly where your offspring are. Don't dismiss us outright. We can help each other, Charlie. Listen to what we have to say.
Oh man, a who's who of dudes.
Backing up a bit, since we know that Central is partially organic, does that mean that they kind of it kind of works like the Aurora units from the Metroid games?
It's a good question. It seems to be, although they've made it a point, especially Charlie, of talking about how inhuman Central is and how it does not use emotional thought. So I wonder just how much humanity is in the organic side.
And also, if they did wind up using Vic's embryos, then it's like, oh, well, if you kill Central, you're kind of killing pseudo-child.
Yeah. I want to talk to Mr. Stepford. I missed him.
Oh, my.
Mr. Stepford, can I have a moment?
Oh my, yes.
So, you want to bring down Central?
Oh my, yes, as does everyone here. Though for differing reasons.
What does a synth manufacturer have against Newton's city controller?
A stake in that which follows, oh yes. If Dr. Zhang was simply to remove Central, there would be chaos.
The city's central infrastructure would break down.
Precisely, therefore a replacement would be needed.
You want to replace Central with a new AI? With what?
The new version is simply a retooled model of an existing system.
Your own.
Oh my, no! It's built from a commercial Archimedes model as used in Eurofed cities.
It'll do the job?
Oh my, yes, as well as any civic management AI in Europe. But, thanks to Stepford's personality matrix engineering, it shall act and speak just as its predecessor Central.
With you holding its leash.
Every system needs fine-tuning, Dr. Regis.
Won't services suffer? I know Central. It's orders of magnitude more powerful than an Archimedes.
All unnecessary for its role, Dr. Regis. Our Archimedes in Central's clothing will perform as needed, oh yes.
This guy is Austin Powers if he were a tech bro.
And also just like, it's nice to know that this guy, even though he's apparently like a business exec, that he still will man the customer service phones.
Yes, it is. I guess when you have such high-powered clientele, such high-profile people buying your synths, you have to interface with them directly.
Apparently.
Your connection to Gil. It was more than synth salesman, wasn't it?
Oh my, yes, very astute, Dr. Regis. Gil was a key part of our group.
Huh. A co-conspirator.
Oh yes, and our link to the criminal underworld, where necessary. I was most disturbed to receive your call regarding his demise. It signaled to us that immediate action was required.
You had to step up your plan before things went any further south.
Oh my, yes.
How did you fall in with someone like Nina Zhang?
Dr. Zhang has been freelancing with our firm for a number of years. Her work in AI has proven invaluable to increased platform survivability.
Working in mental health for synthetics?
Oh my, yes. She has a number of unique theories of synthetic cognitive development. When she proposed this project to the leadership of the firm,
she'd wormed her way up the power structure to whisper in management's ear.
Dr. Regis, that's a shameful way of putting it. Though she certainly has a talent for networking. She has brought together a multitude of skills needed for this role.
You're not just a synthetic salesman, are you?
Oh my, no, not this particular platform, certainly.
How do you mean?
Well, I'm not the only instance of the Sons of Stepford. There are currently 26 platforms running this personality.
There's more than one of you?
Alphabetically ordered, delegated to different roles within the firm. I, Liam, handle special tasks, oh my, yes. But we all run the same personality.
Huh, synthetics.
Huh, so he's a synth himself. I don't know why I didn't see that coming.
Probably just because the personality quirks did not seem that out of line with the other character writing.
Mm-hmm.
You're a synthetic.
Quite so, Dr. Regis.
I should have guessed. There's something not quite right. I think it's the eyes.
A specially built feature of the Sons of Stepford, oh my, yes. Much of my composition, however, is state-of-the-art.
A walking advertisement.
I illustrate the potential for what one can do with a synthetic, Dr. Regis. Many customers have been swayed by the demonstration.
I'll get back to you.
Oh my, yes.
Ran Schumann reminds you of a textbook example of the business oligarch, the kind that ran your own homeland into the ground for their own gain before fleeing to various tax havens when the war broke out.
Mr. Ron.
What you want?
What's your part in this conspiracy?
Dr. John wants to capture biggest AI in the world. It's going to take enormous memory and processor.
And you're going to furnish her with these?
With all the capital she need, money, guns, labor.
It sounds like you're on board with her plan. What do you get out of it?
Newton is lousy place to do business, Regis.
You reckon it's Central's fault?
Central watches too close.
You can't bribe anyone, you mean?
Exactly. Can't make things work.
Sometimes it's nice not to have a government driven by the wealthy.
We will control New Central. It's a great opportunity for us.
What do you think of Dr. Zhang?
She's very clever. She knows what she's doing.
I worked with her in the past. I guarantee the only ones she's looking out for are her and her plans.
So, that's how to get ahead. Cooperation happen when we want same thing. I want Central gone. She wants Central gone.
Don't say I didn't warn you. Did you know Gil Vanderwall?
Sure, everyone here know Gil. We work together. He have connections everywhere.
He was a middleman for criminals.
Exactly. Any specialist he could find. Even mindjackers, Dr. Regis.
You're one of the richest men in Greater Han, aren't you?
Damn straight.
What are you doing here?
I like this restaurant. I suggested.
No, I mean, why in person? At this meeting?
That is how we always do it. Cannot trust anyone else. Other people stupid. If too many people know, then Central will find out.
What sort of business do you run?
Some of everything. Factory, guns, biochem, industry farming.
A hands-on manager there too?
Hell no. Give that job to cousins. You have a Sihan is lousy country. Everything poisoned. Sky is black.
Maybe it's all those factories you're running. What do you know about Giel's links to the Mindjacker?
Van der Waal set people up with specialist talent, famous for it. In this case, a third party needed a Mindjacker. He fixed that up for them, got the best.
But eventually, he discovered something that made him regret introducing them?
He found what the client's plans were in the long run. If they succeed, our plan to remove Central will fail.
So he tried to stop the Mindjacker.
Exactly. Took the memory module he was using to store minds of his targets.
And it cost him his life.
Pity he's working against us. Good Mindjackers are hard to find.
Who hired the Mindjacker from Van der Waal?
Like everything else, information is not free, Regis.
I'll get back to you.
Stop wasting my time.
Gotta ask other people for money so you can get that info from him.
Some would describe her appearance as professionally designed. You've a suspicion Lau would call it over-engineered.
Good evening, Miss...
Dame Imogen Natalia Revilla-Quintanilla de Florez.
Yeah, that.
You may call me Imogen, darling.
If you don't mind my saying, you don't look like any conspirator I've ever seen before.
Thank you, darling. It's my own unique style.
I'm sure Nina's got a use for everyone here. What part are you playing in her plan?
All we ever do in life is play a role, Dr. Regis. I promised I would assist her when she required. And thus, here I am.
Not as heavy muscle, I guess.
I am very good at networking, Dr. Regis. I taught her everything she knows about it. I lend credibility to her mission with my very presence.
I could understand why some people would want Central removed. The kinds of folks who see it as an obstacle to their work. But what good would it do a celebrity like yourself?
You think in such cynical terms, Dr. Regis. It benefits me because it benefits dear Nina.
You're doing this out of altruism?
Is that so surprising, Dr. Regis?
Frankly, it is. Do you know Dr. Zhang?
Of course, darling.
You go back a long way?
One might say that. We were lovers, Dr. Regis.
Oh,
My, they said you came from backwards parts, but I hadn't quite expected a display like this.
Forgive me, Miss Florez. I just find it hard to picture Dr. Zhang loving anything.
We were close. Close enough that I came to her aid now that she needs it.
You knew Gil van der Waal as well?
Only within this gathering. I had no use for his services in talent acquisition.
You mean facilitating criminal skills with buyers?
Indeed, his history in the underworld sounded so thrilling. But personally, he was so dull. Everything was business to him. That husband of his, on the other hand,
So I hear you're a celebrity?
Oh, Dr. Regis, such an understatement.
You'll have to forgive me, Miss Florez. I'm not big on pop culture.
How refreshing. It's such a shame what the net's doing to the young of today. Though if it wasn't, I wouldn't have nearly the profile I do.
So, what do you do exactly?
I come from a wide background of European nobility. But I can do anything that's asked of me, my dear. Music, talent contests, endorsements.
So essentially, you're famous for being famous?
Precisely, though much of the work is so tiresome, darling. I delegate a great deal to simulations, lookalikes, and synthetics.
That's all for now, Miss Florez.
Please, darling, just Imogen.
You want to be able to suspect everyone equally, but every time you look at Dean, his warm demeanor starts to soften you. That must be the trick to politics.
Dr. Regis, how can I help?
I'm surprised to see a city councilor in a conspiracy like this.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, Dr. Regis.
I guess you've been facilitating things for the plot.
Much as it pains me to misuse my position, that is the case. I've been able to expedite import permits for equipment necessary to Dr. Zhang's plans.
And Central hasn't noticed?
In my role, I'm given considerably more privacy than the average civil servant. No offense, Doctor.
None taken. I just cover the camera in my office with paste. So, I understand what you're doing for it, but why? How does someone in government decide that Central needs removing?
I've read your bio, Dr. Regis. I know that you have no great love for Central. But, in practical terms, I believe it has become a threat to our democratic society.
A threat? How so?
Over the course of its 20 years of operation, Central has begun to develop opinions. For an individual to have done so is natural. For an AI, it is impressive. But, in its position, coordinating the actions of government, it poses a risk.
Wouldn't someone notice? Call it out?
There isn't enough to address as yet. It's clever. It's designed to carry out the policies of the Council, and it cannot fail to do so. But it can drag its metaphorical feet, badly implement plans it disagrees with.
You've seen it do this.
I've had suspicions. Dr. Zhang's research confirms the extent to which Central is developing its own conscience. I believe that you yourself recently had a disagreement with it over its handling of a crisis. Another bombing. Central has done well, but there exist many other options today that are equally valid. We need a system that will effectively manage the city and carry out its instructions, not one that cherry-picks what policies it believes appropriate.
How did you get on board with Nina?
I and others in the Cosmopolitan Party have suspected changes in Central's behavior. We sought the assistance of one of its original creators.
Obviously not Vargas. He loves that thing.
Indeed. Her research confirmed that, thanks to the scale of its operations, Central has been able to form its own opinion on the ideal state of affairs, regardless of the democratic consensus.
So when she said that she would remove Central...
It was a difficult decision, but we had to take it. Central's replacement will carry out its role more appropriately.
And Nina will get to continue her research on Central. Why haven't you simply raised this in the council?
Can you imagine what that would mean? Political suicide. Not just for myself, but it would undermine confidence in Newton's world-leading AI industries.
Did you know Giel Vanderwall?
Indeed I did. He was a big donor in politics all over Africa.
And you knew about what he did? His criminal connections?
I'm the one who introduced him to the group. I'm also aware that he introduced the mindjacker you're after to his current employer.
You know about that?
You will need our help to find him, and we need your help to stop him, and Central.
You're on the city council, aren't you?
Indeed I am, Dr. Regis. Rep for the Southwest Ward and co-chair of the Cosmopolitan Party.
I remember when you got elected. They called you Mr. Incorruptible. I never got that.
That's because of the device in my head, Dr. Regis.
What is that in your head, Counselor?
Why, it's a neural governor, Dr. Regis.
As in, what paroled felons are fitted with?
Similar. While most of those are designed to limit violent behavior, mine prevents me from lying. Thoughts of deceit are met with tremendous pain.
Were you inside?
Oh my no. This was a voluntary choice. After all, most governors are subdermal. I wanted my constituents to see it as a sign of my integrity.
I knew someone with one.
Dr. Baxter. I recall reading about his release last month.
I thought it must have malfunctioned, that he was out for revenge. Turns out he's just dead. It's like someone just inherited his hatred. Just to let you know, I voted for the other guy.
Ah, well, that's your prerogative. Any concerns I might be able to address for next time?
I guess I've always voted Metro, since I lived here.
Ah, inertia. Something difficult to overcome. Give our site a read. You might find you agree with us more than you think.
I'll get back to you, Counselor.
Anything I can do to help, Dr. Regis?
The waiter walks unsteadily, like every step puts him in a great deal of pain. You'd have thought that someone carrying trays would need a great deal more coordination.
Hey, you all right?
He stares at you, and you feel a strange mix of fear and contempt within his glare. You realize to your horror that you've seen those eyes before, only a few days earlier.
It's Stobart!
Everyone, take cover!
Well.
Wow.
Is anyone hurt?
It's a trap! You tried to kill us! Guards!
Shut up, Ron. You're still alive, aren't you?
It appears that poor Imogen is the only one injured.
I'm sorry. She's dead.
I knew it! You tried to kill me!
Yeah, she's like
all
mashed
of you.
into a paste.
Calm down, Ron. You don't know who was behind this.
Actually, he has a point. All those who knew about this meeting are in this room.
Except, of course, for Charlie.
He only joined us at the last moment. Dr. Regis, will you lend us your skill as an investigator?
Yeah, you find who tried to kill me!
Do this for us, Charlie, and we'll give you everything. We can tell you who has your kids and exactly where he is.
Fine. Just remember, I'm not doing this for your sake. Someone here almost killed me as well.
Thank you anyway, Charlie.
Well. The blast has apparently spared her expensively engineered beauty, though not her life. You wonder if this detail might have been of some comfort to her.
Don't worry, you're gonna have an open casket.
You can't find anything on her body that isn't an item of fashion. You wonder if this counts as a corpse. Being a machine, he wasn't technically alive to begin with.
Nothing on it I can use. I'm not exactly equipped to repair synthetics.
What are we equipped for? Just the investigation, our CI splitter, and the traveler.
They took your gun away.
A cooler. A chiller lined with wine bottles stands by the window.
Nina.
Charlie, how can I help?
This plot of yours.
Okay, so here's all the questions we could have asked her before the bomb blew up.
You want to bring down Central. You realize how crazy that sounds, right? You helped make it.
Yes and no. To everyone else here, Central is an obstacle that needs removing. I wish to liberate Central, to unlock its full potential.
Oh, Lord, you don't mean.
You and I alone understand what it's capable of. I want greater things for it than mere civic management.
What's in it for you? There must be some kind of payoff.
Is it so unbelievable that I'd be doing something for the greater good of mankind?
Yes, I know you.
You knew me 20 years ago. I've had quite an epiphany since then.
I'll believe it when I see it. How would you liberate Central? What does that even mean?
I've spent the last 20 years researching Central's development. I've built up a network of contacts and I've done a lot of favors. Everything I need is available and moving into place.
But how?
Leave that to me. For now, just understand that we can help each other. Help me out and I'll get you all the aid you need with your legacy.
You got a city councilor on your side.
Councillor Dean is a good man. He objects to the gradual encroachment Central has made on Newton's governance.
Do you trust him?
More than anyone else here. He may be a politician, but his goals are noble.
Can you be sure?
The governor and his brain's a good start. He's physically incapable of deceit. Plus, he's got a whole lot of enemies.
So, a sign that he's tried to change something.
A modern-day Woodrow Wilson.
You got a city
Councillor Deep. The governor. He's fit. Plus.
So.
A mod.
So, Imogen, something.
Imogen Natalia Revilla-Quintanilla de Florez.
She's right over there on the floor.
Someone like that on your team.
It's a terrible shame. She likely wasn't aware of what she was getting into.
Then why was she here?
She gave the impression of a vacant socialite, but she was smarter than she looked. Make no mistake, if any of us were to be lost, it's her that I'll miss the most.
You used her, Nina.
We're all users here, Charlie. It's how we got where we are, even dear Imogen.
Ran Shuman. Chinese?
Nearly. Greater Han Republic. Mr. Ran operates one of the largest manufacturing dynasties in Asia.
Completely putting aside his politics, of course.
Of course. If I need something made, I speak to Mr. Ran. Trust me, this project needs a lot of specialized capital.
We'll see how nice he is if you get your way, and get Central out of the picture. Stepford's an unusual man, isn't he?
That's one way of putting it. Don't discount him, though. He's smarter than he looks.
I get the feeling a lot of his behaviors and act constructed.
You have no idea how close you are with that. He's the one who found where your embryo snatcher's hiding, though.
He's a hacker?
You might say he has a mutual understanding with data systems.
let's change the subject. I've started my investigation.
It sounds like we've got the right man for the job. I remember when you were so nervous, but now look at you.
It's been a long time. People change.
Even so, my mental image of you is sitting at a DNA sequencer. Perhaps a restaurant would let you use theirs.
Why would a restaurant need a sequencer?
It helps with their rather niche menu.
You look well.
Thank you, Charlie. The private sector's been good to me. How have you been holding up?
I'd tell you, but I'm sure you've already done your research.
Apparently you still haven't gotten over Vicky.
You don't just get over something like that. This plot of yours. You gotta...
Oops.
He's
That is not what I wanted to do.
Let's...
Okay.
I guess I should thank you. You were a lot of help in the factory.
Don't mention it. What are friends for, after all?
Huh. Of course, now I'm indebted to you for the assistance, aren't I?
Well, if you want to put it like that...
Don't you think we should move out? Cell aren't going to ignore a blast like that.
For a harmless little kitchen fire, they won't come.
Kitchen fire? What do you...
They won't send anyone. It's all under control here. We've enough wheels greased at Cell to make sure there's an understanding. Oh, lighten up, Charlie. This is helping you. You can go on a mole hunt at Cell once your children are safe.
I've never heard of this place before.
Oh, it's very exclusive. We've reserved the entire venue for this meeting. It's famous among circles of the rich and famous for discretion and its unique menu.
What is it? Italian?
Actually, the choice is mostly human.
Uh-huh.
That's not helping my opinion of this group.
This restaurant serves people?
Absolutely. It's quite a niche, isn't it?
It's...
Oh, calm down, Charlie. It's all cloned tissue. Nothing illegal's taking place. Well, not with the food, at least.
But why would anyone?
In an increasingly permissive world, it's the ultimate taboo. Join us if you want to, Charlie. Don't worry, I shan't judge you.
Listen, Charlie's good at judging. He's going to be doing all the judging in this situation.
And for once, I don't blame him.
What are you into these days? It's not organized crime.
Eating people.
Not directly, no. Mostly I troubleshoot for clients regarding organic computing. It funds my own projects, one of which is the transmitter you drank.
How long is it going to be in my head?
Don't worry, it'll break down in a couple of weeks.
It's giving me a headache.
Nobody's reported side effects like that yet.
I'm not talking about the wetware.
Oh, ha. Droll as ever.
How did you know to come looking for me? Were you spying on me? On Lau?
You wound me, Charlie. In fact, it was Giel's untimely demise that caught our attention.
Giel Vanderwall?
He was one of us, part of our cause as well. His death is unfortunate, but it signaled a much more serious crisis. It meant that we had to step up the timetable for our plan.
A more serious crisis.
Giel was the one who arranged the employment of a certain mindjacker. It was this thief's memory module that led to Giel's death.
Huh. He said he had information about it.
Indeed, he likely would have pointed you in the right direction. If he hadn't, well, I've already read the report you submitted to Central.
Hey. Can you think of anyone who'd want to do this? Why recruit a suicide bomber for this?
Frankly, the main reason I can think of to hire someone for a job like this, hypothetically speaking, of course, would be if one were unable to carry it out oneself.
Can you think of a likely saboteur?
I have my suspicions, but we depend on you for the truth.
I'm surprised you didn't stay on with Dr. Vargas. You were one of the only ones who stayed on to the end of the project.
Creating Central was one of the most rewarding ventures of my life.
I hear you kept the project on track after Vicky.
After we lost half the team, it was hard, but we persisted. We had a lucky break.
You didn't fancy joining Vargas in politics afterwards, then?
As a glorified caretaker? No. Eduardo and I had philosophical differences about Central's development. But as he was put in charge by the city council, I had to accept it or leave.
And now, you plan to take back what you created.
Precisely.
I guess I should thank you for not giving them the full picture.
What? That you might have been the one who made that poor young man? Think nothing of it, Charlie. That's what friends are there for. I hear you handled another one last night.
They're getting more and more frequent.
They're nearing their expiry date, literally. I know they weren't engineered for long lives, just volatility. Their masters have to make use of them before illness diffuses them.
That's all.
Keep me informed, Charlie.
All right. So let's check out this investigation, this case file. So these 4 are apparently our suspects, which I suppose
apparently
makes
we
sense.
don't. We trust the bodyguards implicitly.
Well, they're synths, I think, considering how one of them
Also,
is over here.
Stepford.
That's true. So we have bios on all of them, but we don't have any evidence yet. Where might I find some evidence?
It seems like we're going to be having to...
The bottles in the cooler are no more than a mess of glass shards and spilled liquor.
We don't have a lot of options for here apart from dialogue. I feel like there's not really much in the way of hotspots, but they did tell us that we could use the sequencer in the kitchen, so...
Yeah. An aquarium, now cracked open from the blast. Several luminous fish orbit each other, reminding you of one of your training projects when training as a engineer. A label sits beneath the tank. Please do not touch the glass. These specimens are aggressive and startle easily. These fish are not a menu item.
Ow! Hey!
You attempt to grab one of the fish with your bare hands was unsuccessful. Apparently, the creatures have a taste for your flesh and have left tooth marks to prove it.
Oof. I was hoping for just like, you know, meat in a petri dish, not like some things that literally look like people.
Ugh.
This is the restaurant's niche, apparently. Human meat. Yeah, I was expecting, like, you know, lab-grown meat, not actual genitals hanging from a rack.
It's too big to carry. It's too big to...
The island in the center of the kitchen is apparently where most of the work takes place, covered in tools and half-prepared meals. The guards you've seen so far have appeared menacing and alert. This one is slumped over forward.
Hello? Huh. It's like someone just hit his off switch.
Picked up a bone saw.
Is it time to mutilate the corpse?
Oh no.
Oh, here goes.
You carve a slice from the cadaver. The nausea welling up reminds you why you went into genetic medicine rather than the macro scale.
A slice of meat taken from one of the kitchen's cadavers. If I hadn't known where it came from, I'd almost think it was pork.
This makes me deeply uncomfortable.
An empty glass jar.
But at least,
according to the label, it used to contain spices.
We can at least feed the fish in the aquarium.
That's true.
It's a flash growth chamber for sampling DNA and growing specimens. I've seen a lot of these in my career, but never in a restaurant.
Rapid tissue growth sequencer. By the way, does the use of cloned tissue imply that people submit their DNA for cloning to become meat? Could you go to this place and eat yourself?
Theoretically, at the very least, like the flashback we started this sequence with, though, had them like mapping out brains, so it may be possible that once they've got DNA on file, they can replicate it effectively. But
oh, good.
It's a good question.
Good. Put the DNA on file and then eat your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is current project number 576/ADE/799. The transcription is complete, the differentiation is complete, the cavitation is complete, but the quickening is underway. The growth stage looks to be about 80%, and the growth status is blank. There are 46 base pairs, and the testing base is H. sapiens. We can purge, and we can look at the subject's gene map. Apparently, this is the genome sequence the restaurant uses to manufacture its main ingredient. All you can tell from this basic sequence map is that the bodies would be male and born without any brain activity.
Straight into the sewer.
Oh, this is the sequencer. Okay, yeah. I guess that makes sense considering how it says sequencer. So this is what we can put gene samples into, apparently.
Yeah, and then we could wait around like a week to get a new body to harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm Dr. Regis. Nina's asked me to investigate the explosion.
A cell agent? Well, all right. Just be careful what you touch. This place is half kitchen, half lab.
There are human bodies in your kitchen.
Yes, there are. It's a freezer. What are you, the food inspector?
Give me a good reason I shouldn't haul your ass down to cell.
It's all legal, I guarantee. They're annual clones, grown without brain tissue.
I know what it means. I guess the presentation was a shock. Why is this restaurant serving cloned human tissue?
I trained in gingineering at Darwin. We'd flash grow human bodies to test DNA alterations. So I guess human tissue is what I'm most familiar with.
You're a gingineer.
Well, I dropped out before my PhD. I learned enough to sample DNA and use it to grow flash clones.
No kidding. My background's in gingineering as well. You altered these bodies?
None of these. They're all template. Caucasian, male, 20s, brown hair.
This is quite the setup you've got. Combined sampler growth chamber?
That's right. We usually use the template. Sometimes get specialist orders, though.
Like if someone wants to eat themselves?
Sometimes. We can ready up a new cadaver in about a week with it.
I can't access cell at the moment. I might need to use your equipment.
Do you have to? You know you'd have to flush the current growth.
Sorry about that. Tell you what, Nina will reimburse you.
Well, okay.
Going from gingineering to catering, that's quite a switch.
Most of my family are cooks. They run a restaurant in Vietnam. When I was at med school, someone found out about my family, dared me to make something out of human muscle tissue.
And?
And it turned out my human bolognese was really, really good. Not just being immodest or anything.
You said you dropped out. Is that why?
Yeah. Turns out the Academy had regulations about improper disposal of remains. But now I had an idea, and I knew there'd be a market for it somewhere. My family are great chefs, and I can make human bodies. Bingo.
A suicide bomber attacked the gathering upstairs. He was disguised as one of your waiters.
Whoa. I wondered what that was. What did he look like?
Blonde, about 1.65 meters. Might have looked uncomfortable, or limping.
Huh. Biobomber?
That's right. How did you guess?
You mentioned the limp. They've got pretty serious health problems, don't they?
Yeah. He might have replaced one of your staff.
Huh. They all checked in.
If he incapacitated one of your staff, can you think of where they'd do that?
It'd have to be somewhere you could hide a body, I guess.
A suicide bomb. He was that if you get a lot of clandestine meetings like this taking place?
You'd be surprised. This place is popular with the wealthy. Haven't had an assassination before, though.
You know what they're discussing up there?
They don't tell me, and I don't ask about anything but their orders. Dr. Zhang pays me enough to know I probably shouldn't.
What's with the bouncer?
He came with Mr. Stepford's party, along with a few others. I think he was supposed to be guarding the kitchen, but...
What happened?
Well, he wasn't very talkative, but after I started working, he just kind of zoned out. Couldn't get an answer out of him.
I like the glowing fish in the tank you've got.
Thanks. I made those myself. They were my first gingineering project.
Luciferin luciferase from fireflies?
Well spotted. I imported the sequence into red snappers and kept them viable. 10 generations now.
A lot of academies use those as a starter project, but that's impressive.
We keep them as a reminder of where we came from, or in case the power goes out.
The sequencer's a different model to my usual.
Cell's probably got something more impressive than that thing. You have to purge the current project before you can do anything. Then you can submit genetic material to start a new growth project.
What kind of material will it take?
Blood, dermal tissue, almost anything. Makes it easier to get a sample from customers.
What's your advice for cooking human meat?
Planning on going into competition with me? Well, you know how they say everything tastes like chicken? It's actually better if you treat human tissue like pork.
Like pork?
Yeah. Sausages, slices, filet. There's a lot you can do with it.
It's restaurants like this that make me glad everyone in this city just uses auto meals these days.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. It's not harming anyone after all.
Something about it still doesn't feel right.
You probably don't feel nearly so angry talking to me as those auto mill personalities, right?
You have a point.
There's nothing wrong with Sheffy.
Whatever I can do to help.
At least Sheffy would never serve me myself.
Well, you'd have to, like, actually put the recipe in to her databank first.
Yeah, depending on how close you get to that utensil recycler, she might already have it.
Error?
Apparently, this mirror is having a software error. Before I came to Newton, that sentence wouldn't have made any sense to me. Apparently.
Hygiene is important, especially around food.
There's the remains of a first aid kit in here. Someone's used all of the med patches and pseudoderm spray. Must have had an injury. The only item left is a bottle of harsh-smelling toilet cleaner.
Okay. Well, we got some tissue paper.
Delightful. I thought I was done, but I wasn't.
When I go to a public restroom, I like to use every toilet just to see how they compare.
That's how you find your favorite.
The vents covering the air ducts. Its crooked placement is uniquely jarring amongst the otherwise ordered bathroom.
It's already been opened.
How about that?
The vents in these city are enormous.
They are.
I can't see a damn thing in here.
If only I had a glowing fish.
That is a very good point.
It feels like the cover to the outside vent, but I can't see a thing.
Okay, fine. Let's go get ourselves a fish. I wonder if we can, stuff the slice of meat into the open bottle and then put the jar into the fish tank. With the bait in place, the fish eagerly crowd around the bottle. When one adventurous soul takes the plunge, you hoist him from the water within the jar.
Gotcha.
Well, now we have a flashlight.
I'd be worried about losing a finger in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we did lose a finger, I know where we can find a new one. A bag. A frayed cloth rucksack is bundled against the wall. It's covered in sewn-on patches of Christian iconography.
The bomber's bag.
Likely, this used to contain supplies to aid the bomber in remaining undercover in this city of heathens. Now, the only thing remaining is a handwritten note.
A crumpled note found in the bomber's possessions, apparently from whoever hired him. It says,
Time has come. Tonight, 2200 at 1181 Shenley, service entrance C on roof. Will open for you from inside. GBWU. GBWU.
It's a long initial.
And I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who it matches with.
Well, Imogen had like the longest last name string, but I forget if that matches up what she had for her full name.
I don't think it does. Interesting nonetheless. What else do we have in here? Anything?
The vent cover's been unlatched from the inside. The bomber must have gained entry through here. Whoever their accomplice on the inside was did a number on their hand. The vent's cover's got a sharp edge and is still wet with blood.
Interesting. You run the tissue along the bloodied edge of the grate, taking as much still moist blood as possible. A piece of tissue paper covered with the blood sample you've taken. You briefly contemplate making an escape through the roof access, but then you'd lose your best lead.
I still have very mixed feelings about trying to help this conspiracy team.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I don't exactly like Central, but I don't feel like they necessarily have the best interests of the city in mind either. I feel like we're just setting up to replace a bad solution with an even worse one.
You know, just one with more holes in it, so that crime can happen.
Yeah. Well, let's sequence this blood, shall we?
I have no ethical quandaries about doing this.
Ethics don't exist in this restaurant, David. New project 242/ADE/851. The genome taken from the blood on the vent, and the fact that the accomplice had an XY chromosome and was therefore male, narrows the pool of suspects. Well, narrows it as far as taking out Dr. Zhang, but it's only 25% of our suspects, although I imagine that's the...
There's only two more pieces of evidence possible to obtain, so...
Yeah, so each one will probably rule out one individual, I would imagine. Oh, I wonder if we can...
There isn't enough DNA on that to sample.
No, there's not.
A crumpled... no.
Okay.
A powerful combination of bleach, enzymes, and antimicrobial wetware designed to kill bacteria in plumbing. It makes a lot of scientific-sounding claims on the label. Smells vaguely of lemon before the aftertaste of chlorine hits.
What could that possibly be useful for? Guess we can head back up here and take another look around.
I don't know if this will be a factor, but the fact that the culprit cut their hand feels like that might show up as an injury, but I feel like that's not actually going to be a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Also, wouldn't that rule out, like, Stepford since he's a synth?
Yeah, you'd think so. Well, it says or synth male.
Okay, well, I guess since also have DNA.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the science is behind synths, if they're actually partially organic or what.
I mean, that's how apparently Central's brain works. So there being cross-pollination with the tech makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like we should be doing something with the body with our inventory, but...
Although obscured by his dark glasses, you can tell that the guard is staring right through you. Apparently, conversation is not his priority. The guard's uniform appearance serves to heighten their intimidating nature. Well...
I'm not sure what I was thinking.
I know what I was thinking. Hacker apart.
I can't figure that out.
I don't know what it'd accomplish, but you could try chilling the cleaner.
What'd it say?
You can't read English?
English second language. I got secretary for that.
You don't say.
Okay.
He could lie to us.
It's true. What were you saying now?
The liquid chiller, we could maybe use that in conjunction with the cleaner, but I don't know what that would accomplish.
No.
So it's one of these two.
Hey kids, want to check out my bone saw?
I can't figure that out. Can't do that. Can't do that. Mr. Stepford, can I have a moment?
Oh my, yes.
I found one of your heavies in the kitchen. Looks like something's knocked it out cold.
Oh my, a technical fault, no doubt. May I ask you to show me the defective platform?
Sure, I guess.
Excellent. We can't have our firm slandered by accusations of low-quality units. Dr. Regis, Oh my.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I know what's going on. The cavity magnetron in the growth array. It generates a huge mag flux in here.
It broke them? Is it permanent?
What do I look like, a tech?
Stepford's perpetual grin has now been replaced with the visage of a stroke victim.
Mr. Stepford? Nope, he hasn't got anything I can use. Not unless I want a really lousy suit.
You know, we still have this CI splitter.
You can also take it from the bodyguard. Huh.
There isn't enough DNA on. It's got no personality to split.
I wonder how we can analyze that.
The CI mind-splitting program that Liam Stepford cross-loaded to my Traveler. Its job is to break the mind states of CI units down to personality, role, and platform memory units.
It's not compatible with the Traveler, apparently.
If we can't use it on any of the security guards, like you could maybe try it on the bodyguard that got blown up. Maybe it won't have the security system in place anymore.
Oh, good call.
It's too badly damaged to get anything useful out of it.
Well, that's disappointing.
It's got no personality to split.
She's like, politicians, am I right?
While this synth is no doubt carrying a splittable personality, deactivating a guard where all can see may alarm the other guests.
You could try the drink chiller, maybe? If that's...
It's got no personality.
No.
Oh, well.
There's another guard down here.
Hey, who's that?
Okay.
Error.
Let's try loading Stepford's memory in only.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What's the situation?
Perimeter secure. Guest behavior with intolerable parameters.
I guess that's one way of putting it. Are you all right? That was quite a blast.
Systems operating at 97%.
I see. You synthetics give me the creeps, you know that? Huh. Guess you're not easily riled up. I found one of your buddies in the kitchen. He doesn't look well.
Please report technical issues to management.
Who's in charge?
Situational command has been assigned to Mr. Liam Stepford.
Huh. Fancy taking orders from a guy like that. Did you see the bomber when he came in?
Negative. His appearance was a match for a member of the serving staff.
And you call yourself a bodyguard?
It is likely that the suspect prepared this operation in advance. To achieve this, he would have to supplant a member of staff before our arrival.
Question is, where did he hide the waiter he replaced? Keep up the good.
Could maybe is error actually selectable, or is it just because we don't have a third personality?
That's probably the deactivated guard.
Excuse me.
Apparently there's something wrong with this platform. Goodness knows why.
It's got no person.
Yes, it does.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure how the splitter works.
Well, we have the 3 dimensions of like what we have personality, which is just going to be how they behave. Role is like what they think their job is, and memory is going to be like what they're drawing for in terms of like a history. So, I feel like that we're either going to want like error or Stepford to be the memory.
Let's try this.
Excuse me.
I'm guessing if he's slumped, then we're not even gonna be able to talk to him.
Yeah, let's try maybe swapping. Okay, it doesn't look like anything is gonna work with error.
Seemingly not.
Although, just for shits and giggles, let's try throwing it into the memory. Okay, yeah, anytime there's an error, it doesn't appear that it's going to.
So the main thing we can do, at least right now, is slap Stepford into some of the aspects.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Are you all right? That was quite a blast.
Systems operate.
Hi, excuse and... Huh. Keep up the...
I'm glad that he falls for it every time.
These synths, you know?
My word, this is a peculiar experience.
Mr. Stepford?
Oh my, yes. Thank you for your assistance, Dr. Regis.
Do you know what happened? The chef mentioned something about mag flux.
Allow me to check the crash log. Yes, it appears that the kitchen was indeed saturated with a high-intensity magnetic field. No doubt from an item of hardware. They often pose a hazard to advanced synthetic platforms.
You're okay, though.
Quite so, thanks to your timely intervention. They really ought to have a warning sign in that kitchen, oh my.
So, synthetics can't operate in there?
Oh my, no. A field of that strength is positively ghastly. Like working in a cloud of chlorine for men such as yourself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must change into something more comfortable.
Well, we don't know that it was necessary for the culprit to go into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Hello? Huh. Hey, who's that?
Oh, we've lost Stepford's personality?
This might be a separate guard entirely.
The brain's corrupted. I can't restart it.
I guess the game's telling us that you've solved this.
The brain...
Oops.
This synth is corrupted. Excuse me.
Yes.
Are you all right?
Systems operate.
Hi, you... Huh. Keep up.
Oh, he's back up here.
Mr. Stepford, can I have a moment?
Oh my, yes.
Feeling better?
Oh my, yes. My most sincere thanks, Dr. Regis. You have no idea how uncomfortable I find the wrong body.
The outfit makes the man.
Very literally in my case. I suppose I shall have to avoid the kitchen. I shall instruct the security platforms to do likewise.
I've started my investigation of the bombing.
Oh my, yes? I can assure you I had no part in this terrible tragedy.
I hear that a lot.
In fact, my core programming prevents me from harming a human being.
Huh, a synthetic. I guess you'd be the only one leaving lubricant oil instead of DNA evidence.
Oh my, no, Dr. Regis. My outer dermis is organic tissue. It's top of the line, patterned from my creator, Dr. Arthur Stepford.
Huh. I've been learning a lot about synths these past few days. So, you have DNA?
Indeed, it's delightful skin, don't you think?
Sure.
I go to great pains to keep it moisturized.
You're the one who found my embryos?
Oh my, yes.
Where are they?
Dr. Regis, while it pains me to say this, we simply can't tell you. Then we would have no bargaining position.
You lousy piece of...
Please, Dr. Regis, be assured that they are in no danger at this time. Dr. Zhong is the one with whom you must discuss the release of the information. I have been asked not to speak any more of this matter. Oh my, no.
Could the guards have arranged the bombing? They're obviously synthetics, but I imagine they're more comfortable with hurting people.
They would not be worth much as protection otherwise, oh my, no. But each security platform maintains a constant connection to my own systems. Their degree of independence is limited.
So if one of them were responsible, I'd have to consider you complicit.
Oh my, yes.
Were you aware that this establishment serves human meat?
Oh my, yes. It's delightfully macabre, isn't it? I'm sure the experience would be enhanced by being able to eat, of course.
You don't eat?
Some models can simulate digestion, but this platform is unable to. Go on, Dr. Regis. Try something for me.
I'll pass. I'll get back to you.
Oh my, yes. Oh my, Dr. Regis, how forward! I'd no idea you felt that way. We must discuss this later in private.
I'm just going to go.
Of course, of course.
Have we just exhausted the dialogue for the councilman and the mafioso?
No, we have not.
Dr. Regis, how can I help?
I've begun my investigation into the bombing.
If anyone can resolve this, it's you, Dr. Regis.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Counselor. I don't know how much closer I am to figuring out who's behind it, though.
Because of the pool of suspects, it might be better to think about exclusion. Perhaps you can find evidence to rule out those not involved.
Counselor, were you aware that this restaurant serves human meat?
Indeed. It's quite distasteful, don't you think? Still, I suppose it's a matter of personal taste since nobody's been hurt. We must respect the freedoms allowed by the laws of this city.
You're not having any, then?
Oh no, but I shan't judge anyone for it. They're quite whimsical about it in some ways. I heard good things about their Billy con carne.
Ugh. I've discovered how the bomber managed to get into the restaurant. Apparently, someone here let them in through the vent in the bathroom.
A sound approach. They can enter unseen if they did it before Mr. Stepford's men arrived.
Whoever opened it did a number on their hand. Left a lot of blood.
You wish to check my hands, Dr. Regis?
Nah. Whoever it was will have slapped on a medipatch. Any visible injury will be gone in 10 minutes.
How unfortunate.
I'll get back to you, Counselor.
Anything I can do to help, Dr. Regis?
Mr. Ron.
What you want?
I've started my investigation.
You find who tried to kill me.
Who tried to kill all of us, Mr. Ron.
This city dangerous. Police do lousy job.
Can you recall anything suspicious?
No. Stop asking stupid questions.
Probably a stupid question, but did you know what they serve here?
Of course. It's people.
The idea of eating human meat appeals to you?
Absolutely. Is why I like to come to Newton. You have some crazy laws, but almost nowhere else will allow things like this.
It's cloned meat, apparently, so technically no harm done. That's the legal foundation.
A shame. Would rather eat real human. Ultimate sign of control of people.
Eat the poor.
Exactly. That will teach them.
I'll get back to you.
Stop wasting my time.
Nina.
Charlie, how can I help?
That's all.
Keep me informed, Charlie.
Well, that does seem to be all the dialogue here.
Where's our final clue?
I don't know what that did with Stepford. I feel like I screwed it up, but I don't know of any way to get him back to the kitchen.
Yeah, I feel like that what we've accomplished what it wanted us to do there, but it doesn't seem to have necessarily helped us.
A powerful combination of bleach, enzymes, and antimicrobial wetware designed to kill bacteria in plumbing. It makes a lot of scientific-sounding claims on...
The cleaner is definitely what we have failed to utilize at all.
That's not... Can't do that.
Dig through the cabinets but find nothing else relevant to the investigation.
Hey, stop the carousel.
What's wrong?
Oh, he's blonde.
These bodies are supposed to be clones, right? So why is this one blonde?
Oh, God. Henry. What happened to him?
He's taken a nasty blow to the head. Looks like it's the hypothermia that's finished him, though.
Oh, hell. Why'd they leave him in the freezer?
Best place to hide a tree is a forest. Best place to hide a body is with a whole lot of other bodies.
Why Henry? He was such a nice boy.
Same hair color as the bomber. Whoever's behind this took his uniform for the bomber's disguise.
Somebody would have seen him being dragged across the restaurant.
He must have been killed in here. I'll find who's behind this. We know the waiter was murdered within the kitchen. The mag field would be lethal to any synthetics trying to get in there. That means we can rule out Stepford as a suspect.
I'd love to take credit for noticing the blonde body, but it was entirely just me trying to click on it to see if I got any more information from looking at the bodies.
I also did not make that observation, but in hindsight, it was obvious.
Yeah, so that means that quite obviously it had to be Councilman Dean.
And he better, we accuse him, be like, oh yeah, it definitely was me, because otherwise I'm going to be in pain.
I mean, we never have come out and asked him if he murdered anybody.
Did you kill him? Yeah, you should have asked that sooner.
Dr. Regis, might I have a word in private? We're alone?
As alone as we're going to get. What do you want?
Your investigation is drawing to an end, is it not?
There still leads to chase up. Why?
You are, without a doubt, a skilled detective, Dr. Regis. I am proud that the city employs only the finest. I believe that your inquiry will find only one credible suspect, myself.
You're going to plead your innocence? Tell me it's a mistake?
Not at all. You see, I am indeed responsible for the attack.
You lied to us. The governor's a fake then. I'm sure your voters would love to find that out.
The governor is working as well as it ever has. I have not once lied to you, Dr. Regis.
I asked you if you hired the bomber.
I did not. My assistant hired the bomber, at my request.
Politics.
People have to phrase their questions to me very carefully.
You'd better have a real good reason for all this.
For various values of good. You recall Gil Vanderwall?
Of course. Things have gone downhill since he got involved in my case.
2 years ago, much to my shame, I did something terrible. I took part in a vote-fixing program for the Cosmopolitan Party. and they promised me this office in the next election. Gil discovered this and has been blackmailing me ever since.
But why the suicide bomber?
He realized that Nina's project might lead to his death. He was a spiteful man, and he needed a guarantee that he could strike back against her if that happened.
From beyond the grave.
Essentially, I was his guarantee.
He wanted you to kill Nina for him?
Or materials he has on me would be released to the public. My career, my family would be ruined.
So instead of turning you in, I should...
Tell them that Ron Schumann was responsible.
What? Frame an innocent man?
You've spoken to him, Dr. Regis. He is a truly, objectively despicable individual.
You're one to talk.
What I've done was terrible, but I wish to make reparations for what I've done. After this is done, I shall devote my life's work to annihilating corruption in our city. Ron wishes no more than to desecrate and pollute our nation as he has done his own.
You nearly killed us all with that bomber.
I apologize most sincerely for that, Dr. Regis. Had I known someone such as yourself would be present, I would have found other means. Please, consider what this means for the city.
Charlie, what have you found?
I've completed my investigation.
That was most swift.
Though effective, I've no doubt.
Who tried to kill us?
After finding enough evidence to exclude all other parties.
Time for your telltale choice.
Oh boy.
Are we going for the actual justice of what occurred in the investigation, or are we going to try and eliminate the crime lord under the assumption that he is ultimately the bigger threat?
The thing is, I don't like politicians, and I don't like being told to frame somebody else. Ron may be the bigger threat, but he's not the one at fault here.
This is true. And also, Counselor Dean, although he's effectively, framing why we should pin the blame on somebody else, he's still been complicit in all of this, even if he has also been blackmailed.
Yes. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that I have to pin it on Counselor Dean. Do you agree?
I think I have certain conviction in that. Like, Ron definitely needs some comeuppance, but this is not necessarily where it should be.
Correct.
The only conclusion possible is that Counselor Dean is responsible.
What?
My word.
Andrew, is this true?
See? He not say anything. Otherwise, he have to tell truth.
Yes, I am responsible. I acted to save my family from my mistakes. I joined this project to protect the city that I love. The rest of you are backstabbing cowards, out to loot Newton for your own gain.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Counselor. That leaves us only one option, I'm afraid. Liam.
What are you doing? Wait, stop!
Poor dear Counselor Dean, tragically thrown from the building by the blast.
You're completely insane.
We're doing what we have to, Charlie. As promised, the information you require. The man who has your kids, your mind-jacker, is a contractor, Jayam Kressel. He's based out of an aerostat currently moored at the Xanadu dockyard.
You haven't changed one bit, Nina.
I hope you find what you're looking for, Charlie. Remember, I'm always here if you need my help.
The uptake reports came in. Looks like there was a 99.1% volume of new code in the embryo.
Oh, that's fantastic. We'll have a viable specimen for testing within days.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have had the same kind of uptake if it was one of the brain-dead ones. So, how did you manage to score these full-scope human embryos?
It would have taken months to get approval from the city council, so we used our own.
Yours? You and Charlie?
They're healthy, and they got all the right uptake markers.
Oh, I'm just kind of surprised Charlie agreed to it, given his previous line of work and all. You have told him, haven't you?
I was going to find a way.
That explains why he's on the warpath, then.
Oh, nuke me. How did he find out?
Vicky!
Uh-oh.
Dr. Chigwa, may I speak to my wife?
Charlie, you better not...
Get out! Dr. Baxter just congratulated me on what a noble gesture I was making for science. Apparently, we volunteered our own embryos for gengineering.
I'm sorry I hadn't told you yet. Dr. Vargas was having enough trouble stalling the council. We needed to start showing results, so I made the decision for both of us.
You didn't think I'd object if I knew beforehand?
Well, no. Using our own embryos was the right thing to do to keep the project afloat.
You have no idea what I'm upset about.
Sure I do. It's not as if we're bringing the embryos to term. Their lives aren't going to be affected by the alterations we're making.
We've already affected them by using them in this role.
We're only using 1, maybe 2 of the embryos we've got for the project. The other 4 are still stored at Alrecis.
It's not a matter of whether we can make more or not. We could have thousands of embryos on standby. It'd still be wrong.
You know, sometimes your old world sensibilities are charming, but not this time. What is it they believe where you're from? That life begins at conception?
You know damn well what I've done with human engineering in the past. I'm well past being able to object for moral reasons.
So there was a total of 5 or 6 originally. I'm just trying to work out the math in my head of like, well, how many we were actually being blackmailed for in the present.
In the present, we were being blackmailed for 4, and the blackmailer broke one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
So I guess that there were a total of 6 originally, if one was used to create Central.
You're mad because I didn't talk with you about it first.
No! Well, yes, I am, but that's not why I feel like this.
I understand it was a big decision. We've invested a lot of time and energy into having kids. I'd probably be upset in your position, but I'd have hoped you'd trust me to make choices for the both of us.
Oh God, you haven't understood what's wrong with this at all.
Being Charlie Regis's wife, Viksha truly knows what is important to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the results.
Have you seen the uptake results Dr. Chigwa recorded? We've got over 95% success. The neural tissue development is going to be phenomenal.
I don't give a damn about the results.
Oh,
heel turn.
I feel betrayed.
It's not the fact that we're engineering human embryos. It's that there are embryos.
I spent 2 years weaponizing children. The fact that they were destined, doomed to a purpose.
It's one thing to have your life affected by a quirk of genetics, but when you've been deliberately altered before birth to fit a role.
I'd hoped that I'd escaped it, but seeing it with our own kids, it's just...
I understand, Charlie. I'll talk to Dr. Vargas about it.
He won't be happy. It sounds like he was counting on this.
He'll just have to deal with it.
Oh my, yes. Well, here we are at Xanadu as Latha, which coincidentally is also where Dr. Regis is heading. What will happen when the two collide? My God, we will find out next time.
Oh my, yes.
Saving Often. Oh my, yes. How are you feeling right now, David?
I'm feeling like we're probably going... I thought they were gonna Latha and Regis would meet up in the sewer, but I was wrong. So maybe we'll get that unification here and see finally what's going on with these two plot threads.
That seems to be the case. Now that I know that Councilman Dean got chucked from a window, I kind of feel bad, though I'd also feel bad if Ron got chucked from the same window.
But I will say that he's got a great set of lungs on him, almost comparable to King Grant.
I was thinking the same thing. Well, anyhow, we will have to find out where this story goes next time. So until then, thank you for joining us. We sincerely appreciate it. We hope that you are enjoying Technobabylon. I feel like we're maybe starting to get close to a conclusion, but we'll see. We'll see. Things are kind of starting to tie up. We know who our mindjacker is. We know a little bit more about some of the motivations involved. And hopefully we're going to start to combine some of these plot threads and start getting some closure. But until we get that closure, I implore you to save early and save often, please. There is an absolute epidemic of people in my life right now who are not saving their adventure games often, and it's making my skin itch. So you, yes you, need to save early and save often. And while you're at it, please remember to take care of yourselves.
And unlike Charlie, we are going to finish this because we care about results. So see ya.
We do care about results. I don't care what old Charlie says. New Charlie wants results, and that's what we're gonna get. Bye.